I always give all his credit, no, but we need to run it back. That's why my tough. When after the fight, I say we need to run it back this fight because I don't feel the way I really want, and I need to make this fight happen again, no, and it's gonna be different. I think for him to deserve all the credit, he need to give me the rematch, obviously. But he decided to retire, and we need to accept that and move forward.
You know what? Sometimes you try and your body cannot go, right? That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore. So I try it, but my body just no let me go.
I have a burning question for you that I think everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a Canelo rematch? Is there a rematch clause? That's something you're thinking about?
I'm not even thinking about that right now. And quite frankly, I don't think it is a rematch clause. And if it is, nothing has been said to me about fighting him again or anything.
Do you think Canelo would want to get back in the ring with you? Or do you think it's better for him to just or more lucrative to go fight elsewhere for the rest of his career?
I think it would be better for him to fight somebody else, because my style is just, a bad matchup for him.
With a great performance just behind him, Terence Crawford is making his place very clear. He's been honest about Canelo Alvarez's sudden desire for a second fight, and he won't take any excuses. Crawford has already shown that he knows how to beat the Mexican star and has the right mindset to do so in a real fight, not just a draw. Keep his memory alive is not the only reason for this. It's about being taken seriously. Crawford is ready to stop making excuses for everything.
Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez fight?
Yeah, I did.
Woo, talk about slick. Oh my goodness. Who's ever done that? Who's ever jumped up 2 weight classes like that? It's crazy.
Scary.
He's so clever, and it got to the point where he got so comfortable, he's like pit-patting them, and then like, what? And you're watching, like, this is amazing.
Like, that's history, obviously. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to fight at that weight for the first time ever.
Against one of the greatest
greatest of all time, and do what you did. You're beyond an outlier. You're in the...
Crawford did something amazing by moving up several weight classes to fight Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is naturally bigger, instead of giving up or just living. Crawford did a wonderful job. He went straight at Canelo and used sharp angles, accurate counters, and perfect defense, clearly hurting and irritating the super middleweight king. What shocked me the most happened after the fight. Canelo didn't say anything bad during the press meeting. He stated that he didn't understand Crawford's moves and even said that Crawford was much better than Floyd Mayweather. It was clear that they really respected her.
Lastly, for me, champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
That weak acceptance was gone after only a few months. Canelo just recently talked about the loss, but the story has changed so much that fans can't believe it. Suddenly, he says he lost focus, had terrible leg cramps, and elbow problems that needed surgery. He says his body did not react that night. People who follow combat sports haven't held back. On social media, these late reasons have been harshly compared to Deontay Wilder's famous costume claim. Someone who used to be proud of not making excuses will be shocked by the change. It's even stranger now that Canelo has made new requests. He's not just making sense of the loss. He thinks Crawford owes him another fight. In a recent talk, he said out loud that they need to fight again in September so that Bud can get full credit for the win. The harsh truth, though, is that there was no rematch option in the original contract. It was on purpose left out by Crawford, along with any limits on rehydrating, to make sure Canelo was at his best and the win was fair. Crawford is going to stop in December 2025. S.O. Canelo is looking for a way to get an advantage that doesn't exist.
He was given a lot of credit. There's no rehydration clause, blah, blah. Oh my God, Bud's such a fighter. I'm up here making the argument. See, no excuses. He doesn't need a Mayweather rehydration clause. But really, why did he do all that? Because if you want the shot, you got to do it according to Canelo's terms.
Yes.
He still beat Canelo comprehensively and decisively. In the rematch, Crawford would be within his rights to say, okay, wait a minute. Now there's going to be a rehydration clause. Now there are going to be some things that favor me. And once that happens, it's just going to get worse for Canelo.
I wouldn't like that for Crawford's legacy. I don't think I know, but his character.
If you were Canelo, if you were Crawford, like, I understand what you mean. I already proved my point the first time. All right, you want the rematch? Okay, but now it's going to be on my conditions.
Maybe different money terms. Say you want, you want parity and money, which obviously never has been with Canelo. Stuff like that.
See, that's my thing. You begging for this fight, and you go on these shows where he's
I don't think he's begging for it either.
He's not begging.
I've never.
You know what? Shady loves to say that. Oh, why did you get into it with fighters? You know why? Because I interact with the fighters. Let's get Canelo here, and then you say this to Canelo.
You think I'm gonna get I don't care about none of that.
You might think that a huge payoff would be enough to get a former fighter to come back, but Terence Crawford is something else. There were rumors that Turki Alshik offered a huge $100 million to get Bud to come out of retirement and face him again. A lot of athletes would be interested in that much money. The boxing world was shocked by Crawford's answer, though. He said no, making it clear that he can't be bought. He made it clear that his morals and honesty were much more important to him than getting another big paycheck. This shows that he is one of the few people who isn't just interested in making money.
$1 for me, don't even talk to me about it. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to hear. Basically, let me translate, because we know Crawford don't like to do too much trash talking. He likes to keep it clean. What Crawford is saying to Canelo, the price on your head for a rematch is $100 million, because he already collected it last time. So is not going to go with the rematch. Talk is cheap. With Crawford being the A side, with Crawford getting the lion's share, with Crawford getting fair judges, mainly, Canelo is going to say, hell nah, to the no, to the no rematch. Telling you, he's going to start speaking English again. We haven't heard Canelo speak English for a minute now, I think. As soon as they show Canelo Alvarez the realistic terms on the contract for the rematch, he's going to wake up to...
When talking about a possible rematch, Crawford said that the fight itself is not the problem. But the real reason he is turning down a big payoff is much darker and is rarely talked about in boxing's glossy world. The real problem is that a tough training camp is hard on the body. His health will be affected for a long time after months of pushing his body to its limits to face a strong opponent. Crawford keeps the big picture in mind. He chose to live a pain-free, healthy life with his family over a short-term paycheck that could leave him with health problems that last long after the crowd has stopped cheering.
It's not all about knocking somebody out. Yes, that's part of it. That can happen, but boxing is a sport where you can outpoint somebody too. That's why they go to the scorecard.
I appreciate that take, bro. That's real educated, man, real thoughtful. But you ain't had a decision win in a long time, bro. You known for like being a great finisher. So I appreciate that. But that ain't how you moving though.
Right.
Please explain that to me. You just saying overall.
Yeah, overall.
You say, hey, I like to do this, but this is not for everybody.
It's definitely not, because it's a price to pay. It's definitely a price to pay when you fight those type of fights.
Yeah.
When everybody thinks nothing going on.
Yeah.
But all them punches add up.
Yeah, buddy.
All them punches add up.
He ain't got a bruise or nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't take no punishments. Like, bro, my head hurt.
Your head hurt.
I'm in this room right now trying to get right, and y'all chilling, partying downstairs.
Yeah, like all them punches add up. Punches in sparring add up. All them punches add up, and when one is good one day, and then it just all hit him out of the blue. He ain't even boxing no more. It just hit him, and then people be like, "Man, you all right, man? Yeah, What's wrong with you?"
You never know when that's gonna happen.
You never know. It's gonna come.
Yeah.
Stay around
long enough. Yeah.
And it's just like, dang. You know what I mean? Is you all right? Yeah, I'm good. You might start slurring a little bit. You might start forgetting a lot of things. Yeah. You might get a little dementia. You might keep repeating the same thing over and over, and you don't even know it, But that's from all that accumulation of punches to the brain.
But I know you probably have too. I done been in the presence of fighters, bro, where that stuff is happening. And I'm like, where they say something to you and they just told you 2-3 minutes earlier, you like, brother, you just said that.
Definitely.
That's scary to me.
Definitely.
That scared him.
Crawford has perfected the best PR move of all time, staying quiet. Instead of getting involved in a messy media fight, she has done nothing. Whilst Canelo goes from podcast to podcast airing his complaints, Crawford has not yet replied to a single one. People who disagree with you are going crazy because of that quiet confidence. They have nothing to attack. What more can they say now? Crawford asked the crowd after his historic win. Over time, that line has only gotten stronger. By keeping quiet, Bud stays on the moral high ground and lets his perfect, unanimous choice speak for itself while Canelo deals with his own problems.
Question for you that I think everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a Canelo rematch? Is there a rematch clause? That's something you're thinking about?
I'm not even thinking about that right now. And quite frankly, I don't think it is a rematch clause. And if it is, nothing has been said to me about fighting him again or anything.
Do you think Canelo would want to get back in the ring with you, or do you think it's better for him to just kind of, or more lucrative to go fight elsewhere for the rest of his career?
I don't know. I think it would be better for him to fight somebody else because my style is just, you know, a bad matchup for him. Now, financially wise, I would be like, yeah, he should fight me. But like on the outside looking in, knowing boxing, you can really get hurt. So I would just tell him, like, if you're going to continue to fight, don't get in the ring with a guy like me.
Yeah. There's a popular adage in sports, kind of gets reused over again. It's kind of cliche. Father Time is undefeated. 38 years old. We see a lot of athletes now go into the late 30s and 40s and produce at a high level. How much longer do you want to do this?
I don't know.
No clue yet? Did beating Canelo make you think about those next steps in any way, or?
Before Canelo, I was thinking about a lot, you know, and I'm still thinking about a lot. I just haven't made my final decision. But once I make it, I'm going to make it, you know, and I'm going to make it.
Boxing fans who are really into the sport can see a real reason why Crawford won't be back. A lot of people on Reddit talk about how dangerous the sport's politics are. It is still thought that Canelo is boxing's most lucrative draw, and he is starting his own promotion company. Boxing fans are afraid that the business will do everything it can to get back at Canelo if Crawford agrees to fight again. No matter how well Crawford does, there is a good chance that the scorecards will lie about him to protect Canelo's pay. In that case, Crawford has no reason to go into it without thinking.
I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford, because Crawford, you know, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch, so I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit, but don't give up. Keep going until you hit him. I think rematch with Canelo would be the best thing.
It would be interesting if Terence Crawford came out of retirement to fight Canelo again in 2026. It would become one of the biggest boxing matches very quickly. But experts worry that it could be very bad for Canelo. The first fight between them wasn't close. Crawford was the better player the whole time. Wade Plemon made it clear Saul would lose a second time.
Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez are apparently in talks for a rematch in 2026, and my only question is why? Why? Outside of a massive payday, the first fight wasn't necessarily a competitive fight, and if they do it again, I think it's going to be less competitive. I don't think this is going to go very well. For one, Saul Canelo
didn't hold back and made it clear that Canelo always makes the same mistakes no matter who he fights. He pointed out that Canelo was standing with his feet flat on the ground, not moving much, and not throwing many punches. In the first fight, these flaws were clear, and Crawford took full advantage of them. Wade thinks Canelo needs to do a lot more work in the gym before he even thinks about fighting again. On the other hand, Crawford only needs to show up. He already knows how to beat Canelo.
I don't know how this goes well for Canelo in a rematch. Honestly, you will look at the first fight, and the things that plagued Canelo were essentially the things that plague him against most boxers. His flat feet, his lack of movement, his lack of volume. He couldn't get to Terence. He was overextending. He was getting caught with counter shots as he overextended. The big shown around, memed, and replayed moment of the fight is Canelo trying to throw a hook and a right hand, and Terence Crawford slipping on the outside and banging the left hand counter behind it. Canelo was beaten to the punch from distance. He was beaten in exchanges, and even in points in the fight, he was beaten inside by Terence Crawford. This was I wouldn't say dominant, but I would say more one-sided than I thought win for Terence Crawford, where he flat out outboxed Canelo and he took Canelo's power. Like, there were times where Canelo landed the big right hand and Terence Crawford took it. So what would be different if they fought again? The only different thing that potentially could happen would be in Canelo's hands. He He would have to find ways to be different. And as much as I would love to believe that's possible, Canelo getting up there in age, I understand Terence Crawford is older, but Terence Crawford already fights at a way that's advantageous versus Canelo. He doesn't really have to change much. And he's fighting up a couple of weight classes from where he normally did, so he doesn't have to really worry about a weight cut either. And he's filled into that weight class because he looked just as big, if not bigger, that Canelo Alvarez did on fight night.
Wade said that the only way for Canelo to beat Bud Crawford was to fight him with all of his might. He used an example of one of Canelo's past great performances to show what the boxer can do. Wade says that if Canelo wants to fight Bud again, he needs to fix all of his mistakes from the first fight and give it his all.
I think Canelo could and should and would do differently for this fight is he would have to fight Terence Crawford like he fought Sergey Kovalev at 175. That's genuinely what he would have to do. He'd have to be lighter on his feet, he'd have to throw more combinations, and he'd have to be quicker with his hands, as he was in that fight. And I'm not saying that he changes everything about himself. Canelo had success in moments with Bud Crawford, but that's what he would have to do and some, right? He would have to be able to add layers to his game and not be so flat-footed. And if he's going to combination punch, he's got to do so in the fire with Terence Crawford, which going into the first fight, I didn't think Terence Crawford was going to have as much success with his combination punching because he'd have to be in front of the powerful hands of Canelo. But again, he was able to do so off the back foot and front because Canelo threw one at a time. He threw the jab or the right hand, or he threw the hook right hand. And again, Terence Crawford remained mostly southpaw, which does give Canelo problems because now he has to lead with his backhand versus punctuate with it. And his jab gets neutralized, and it's just a mess of a fight for Canelo. It really is. I don't hate that he wants to get that back. And the matchup itself is, again, one of the only ones that Canelo can still have. Make a shit ton of money and potentially not completely...
Wade still thinks that Canelo doesn't have a good chance of beating Crawford again. He made it clear in his prediction that Terence Crawford will be the better fighter. He told Canelo that Crawford's style doesn't fit with his own and told him to forget about the loss.
He saw him. And maybe you could say, listen, Canelo just needed to see him one time to figure out that puzzle, right? He figured out Triple G, was able to re-implement it in the rematch, and then the third fight, it was not even a great fight. Canelo just did what he wanted. But this is not the case, I don't think, with Crawford. I think Crawford just has a style that is really, really tough for Canelo. And I'll be honest, if they fought again, it would be more dominant for Terence Crawford. I truly think if in 2026 they book this rematch, I think Crawford dominates him even worse. And I'm not saying he stops Canelo because I don't know if that's something that Terence could get at 168 because Canelo's chin has still really never been tested like that. Like, he didn't really get hurt in the Crawford fight. He just got outboxed. But maybe he potentially would be able to stop him. But I just think it would be more one-sided than we saw in the first fight and would just reestablish that Terence Crawford is that fucking guy in this sport right now. The top guy, the head honcho in this sport, which is, I don't know. I mean, is it dangerous to Canelo's legacy to lose to the best of this era and the best of the era previously? I don't know. Like, did Canelo ever have an era where he was the best in the world? Maybe that's the question he's still trying to answer himself, and why he would want this rematch with Crawford. But when I see this news coming out of him wanting the rematch, having the elbow surgery, maybe in his mind going, okay, my elbow wasn't fresh, I wasn't able to turn my shots over, so that's why I can win this rematch. I like the competitive nature of it. I don't like the fight for him. I think the matchup's all wrong for Canelo. I think this style of fight, in terms of what Terence Crawford does well, is counterpunching off the front and back foot, his ability to go from range with his jab, be inside with it too, protect himself, catch counter with punches. He's got just a different timing than Canelo really has on his punches, and then you pair it with the volume that Terence Crawford can throw, and his feet, and his angles. This is
In the end, Terence Crawford has played the best game possible. He climbed the mountain, beat the giant, made sure he would have plenty of money, and left behind a perfect legacy. He shows that sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing and let the other person deal with their problems. Do these late excuses from Canelo hurt his own reputation? Or is Crawford owed one last, exciting fight by the boxing world? Please say what you think in the comments. That's all for the video today. Want to make sure you don't miss any more videos? Please like, follow, and click the bell. Feel free to leave your thoughts below, and we'll see you next time.